Let's talk about developing our inner focus. Let's chat. Welcome, new future builders, to this What If Wednesday, where we use creativity and self-awareness to help grow ourselves so we can then grow the world. And so today, we're going to continue this topic about meditation. Again, I'm talking about finding your inner focus that can help you be more powerful, right? To help you be more centered, to help you be more mentally strong. So let's have that discussion today, because again, we talked about the challenge this week is to meditate every day. So at this point, you should have been meditating a couple of times, right? And you get to the point where you get deep. You're just sitting there, you don't know what to do, you don't know what to think about. And so I wanted to go deeper in that process of how you find that inner focus. Now, when I meditate, I get to a point where I try to get deeper in levels in thought and kind of inside of my subconscious. And at a point there, I have a space, right? And that space is a whole separate world. It has in it things that I symbolize. It's like a room in a way, kind of like my ideal room, right? It's me. Part of it's me. It's a serene space where my mind can sit and reflect and picture what it needs to. So at this point in time, oftentimes when I go deep, I visualize myself going into the space physically. So I typically open the door up and walk into it. And when I walk into it, it's a beach with water. There's a dragon. So again, if you all haven't seen the significance of dragons, for me, then you got to do some research. But and I still have to talk a little bit more on it, I think. Yeah, I think I still have some messages to share in terms of that. The dragon is very symbolic for me. So there's a dragon there. Actually, is when I discuss things with, I bounce ideas off. And so before I sound completely insane, let me outline some basics, right? I have a space where I feel comfortable in. So you find a space you feel comfortable in, that you can imagine yourself physically in. Now, when you're in that space, try to go through the senses: smell, feel, touch. How many things can you experience in this space? This is important. The more you can experience, the more senses that you can bring to mind while you're there in meditation, right? The more real it feels, and the more it's going to get ingrained into your subconscious. This is important. So whatever space it is, whether it be a room at home, a place you want to vacation to, a rooftop, whatever it is, make it as vivid as possible. Now, as I physically sit myself in this space, this is where I talk to myself. This is where I have the reflections on the week. Conversation is important. Talking to yourself is important. Talk about what you learned. Talk about what you want to do. Talk about where you went wrong. Talk about what you love, what you're grateful for. This is where you have the conversation. At the same time, you can then picture that person, place, or thing in the space with you. Dragons are important, so I use dragons as an anchor for me to have a conversation with, because a dragon is part of me. Again, getting complicated and weird, that's okay. Now, I also visualize what I want to accomplish. I make sure I make it vivid. I make sure I picture the future, the new future that I want for myself and the world and my family. I picture it. I don't just think about it. I try to physically put it in the space. So for me, I may picture an actual landscape. I may picture myself on stage. I may picture my family on a vacation or having them there on the beach with me. There is a significance there. And then on top of that, going a step further, if you really, really, really want to evaluate your next actions, what your plan should be, you have a question you want to ask yourself, you want to seek and consult your inner wisdom, I do what's called a round table. And you've probably heard of this if you've done Think and Grow Rich. You read that book. You know that at a point in time, he would picture himself sitting, right? If you picture himself sitting at the table, I think it was Think and Grow Rich, sitting at the table with the folks that he looked up to, the mentors, right? The ones that he would actually consult with. And I feel like others have done this as well. Ideally, those, so I would maybe picture Eric Thomas sitting at the table. I'd picture Evan Carmichael sitting at the table. I'd picture Gary Vee sitting at the table. Tony Robbins, President Obama, Michael Jordan. I'd vision those people that I would look to for their perspective on certain things. Right? That's not the all list, and that's not who I always have sitting at the table. Just giving ideas, and again, so that's what happens, right? I ask them questions, and it's really just me bouncing ideas off of my own inner wisdom based off of suggestions and answers I've received. So think about these things. So the principle is that you're having discussion. You're evaluating what you've done. You evaluate what you learned. You evaluate what you would change. You show gratitude. You make sure you think about your plans ahead, and you make sure that you visualize your goals. And throughout all of this, you be as vivid as possible. So why is this a what if question, right? Why is this a what if video? I ask you, what if you had to visualize your ideal mental space? What would that space be? Let us know down below if you would. Make sure you ask this question to your friends and family so you can have some nice conversation. And as usual, if you are brand spanking new, make sure that you join the movement. Join us in this effort to create a new future for the world by working on ourselves. And as usual, the real as usual this time, treat each day as a building block to a better future. Peace.